So I, 25 male, have 5 sisters, teen, mid-teen, triplets, Maya, a young child. My parents never wanted a boy. Plus, after they had me, the doctors told my mom to wait for a few years before trying for more kids. So they always hated me for that. My maternal family, except my uncle, also shared her sentiments. My paternal family disowned my father. I was told from when I was little that it was because of me. But after I got in touch with them after I moved out, I found out it was because my father was married before my mother. He was married to a woman named Emily, who's now like a mother to me, for 2 years, and he cheated on her the whole time during the marriage with my bio mother before leaving her while she was pregnant with my half-brother, Dylan. So when I was 9, my mother gave birth to my eldest younger sister. They were overjoyed spoiling her, and later the triplets and Maya, while I wasn't spared a passing glance and was always blamed for anything wrong. Both the eldest and the triplets realized this and started doing things and blaming it on me. I was grounded and sent to my room without dinner more often than I can remember while staying with them. This horrible behavior was also extended to most other boys. It got worse after I came out as gay to my uncle when I was 15, and they somehow found out about it. I left home when I was 18 and went low contact with the whole family except my uncle. I married my boyfriend of 7 years when I was 22 and later graduated from college. Both of us have great high-paying jobs and are quite well off. So 6 months ago, I got a call from a social worker. My mother was arrested for drugs, and my father was being sued for fraud and for other reasons. The caseworkers told me that my maternal family was deemed unfit to take care of my siblings, and that my paternal family refused to take them in after meeting them. So they asked me if I would take them all in. I talked to my uncle, and he told me that my first sister and the triplets are still the same, but Maya, who I had never actually met, isn't like them. So I decided to take in Maya and told the caseworker. They dropped off Maya a few weeks later, and she was an angel. After that, my parents called me, demanding for me to pay for a lawyer for them, and how I was an idiot for not taking in my 4 other sisters. I refused. After that, my maternal family started calling me and complaining and yelling at me. My husband, uncle, Emily's family, and paternal family tell me that it was my choice and fully support me, but I want an outside opinion. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. No matter how well off you're doing, dropping everything to take on 4 teenage girls you barely know anymore is a huge ask. Foster care will not be easy or guaranteed safe for them, but they have a few years max, and then they'll be on their own too. You don't owe your parents lawyers, and your maternal family sounds lovely. Heck, nice little combo of being unfit and still having the stones to blame you. I'm gonna say you are the idiot here. You have the financial means to take care of your siblings. Imagine what their life would be without a decent framework around them. You know you've been through a nightmare, and you have an opportunity to avoid that for your siblings. They learned nasty behavior from unfit, narcissistic parents who never taught them any better. Don't be surprised when little Maya grows up to hate you because of this. Absolutely not. Yet another case of "that's still your family" narrative being the complete crock of BS it always was. They failed you. You owe your parents and siblings nothing. Having been a teenage girl myself once upon an ancient time, I very strongly suggest that you do not take on the responsibility of raising 4 teenage girls, because, my goodness, I don't mean this as an insult, but you wouldn't be throwing yourself in the deep end. You'd be throwing yourself into the Pacific. Think about this. My paternal family refused to take them in after meeting them. What does that tell you about what kind of people your teenage sisters are? They're more than old enough to know how to behave, what behavior hurts people, and how to treat people respectfully. An entire side of your family's worth of adults has seen how they act and judged that they don't need that in their lives. Do you? Does your husband? Please don't invite it back into your life. You deserve so much better than that, especially from yourself. My husband and brother used to be as close as brothers. However, they had a fight a few months ago, and neither one of them would tell me what it was about. I'm sick of it. because it feels like they've dragged me into the middle of this as they refuse to be around each other, but neither one of them is willing to tell me what's going on. I also barely see my brother now, and I miss him. So I invited him and his wife for dinner like we used to do. My brother only agreed because I told him my husband wouldn't be home, and I told my husband we were having guests but never specified who. Dinner was tense, and at first my husband tried to kick my brother out, but I wouldn't let him. After they left, my husband and I had a huge fight, and now he's barely speaking to me. My brother isn't angry at me, but told me if my husband says anything to me, I should tell him, and he'd deal with him. Am I the idiot? So, who caught who cheating, and who's keeping the secret? Honestly, I'd be more worried about the secret than trying to force them back together. Won't your husband tell you? LOL, some weird crap definitely went down, but I have a feeling that you're not gonna like that, and it involves you. Yep. Like, I'm all for privacy, but this sounds huge. Like, why is her husband not talking to her about this? It was enough to sever a friendship to the point that you couldn't come back? Like, honestly, I would be upset if I were OP. Like, why doesn't my husband and brother trust me enough to tell me what's happening? Ah, the classic. I'll put two people that hate each other in the same room, so everything will get fixed technique. Your plan was stupid. The issue is the secret, not the fact that they need to be in the same room. My first thought is that your brother found out your husband is cheating. Maybe your husband has something on your brother to keep him quiet, or your brother's unsure what to do, maybe out of concern that he doesn't want you to feel hurt. Isn't it equally possible husband found her brother cheating, and brother has something on her husband to keep him quiet? Or is her husband unsure of what to do out of concern that he doesn't want to hurt his wife? Oh, Pete, have dinner with your brother when your husband isn't home, or go out to see him. Start with, husband already told me. Would you like to tell me your side of the story? My 44 female, son is turning 21 in a few months. Growing up, my husband was very busy with his business, and I ran operations for him. So we hired a nanny to help with my son and his sister, now nearly adult, because we had work obligations, or his business required us to travel halfway around the world. One nanny worked with us until my daughter was 2, leaving after she had her baby. Her replacement, the ex-nanny in question, worked for us until my son was mid-teens, when we decided that both kids were self-sufficient enough to stay home alone if we had to travel somewhere for a few days. Now both kids are almost grown, and I've been named the CEO of my husband's company because he suffers from mobility issues and heart problems. His immune system is bad enough that now any type of minor cold turns into an issue where we have to worry about his heart and his lungs. We're dealing with the joy of our kids becoming kind and high-achieving adults, but also with grief because our kids now seem to have separate lives. My husband's also suffering from cognitive impairment problems, so I think we should savor any lucid moment we can have with our kids while we, especially he, still can. My son is approaching his milestone, 21st birthday in a couple of months, and I've been planning to contract a party planner to organize a brunch party of sorts with family and close relatives. Then afterward, we plan to pay for him and his friends to have a staycation at a local hotel. My son approached me today and said he didn't want a party. If I wanted to, we could go out to eat for dinner and buy a cake. But his ex-nanny, who's now 64, comes to town occasionally to visit her kids, and he invited her to come up when she wished him an early happy birthday. He told me he was paying for her train ticket and would take her out to lunch and gift her a bottle of wine or something. He also said he didn't want a staycation and could always see his friends and celebrate another day. To be honest, I was extremely hurt. I told him I wanted to plan a big 21st celebration for him, and he said he wanted to celebrate with us too. So now he's basically choosing somebody who isn't in his life over his parents. I called my son selfish and reminded him that we didn't know how long his dad had with us, or if he would be lucid for that time. My son got mad at me for pulling the "Dad has a degenerative disease" card and stormed out, saying his mind was made up. My son goes to college in the city and lives in a nearby dorm, but we don't see him often. especially since his summer finance internship had him working crazy hours. And now, even on special occasions, he seems to be choosing others over his dad and me. Am I the idiot? Help! The child I didn't raise for his entire life is choosing to spend his milestone moments with the person who did. What should I do? You are the idiot, OP. He's deprioritizing the parents who deprioritized him until he was an adult and missed his entire childhood. Shocking, I know. And she called him selfish? The lack of self-awareness is stunning. He's not choosing anyone over anyone. He said he didn't want some extravagant brunch party and hotel staycation. Instead, he wants to go out for an intimate dinner with OP and the rest of the family. OP is jealous that he's also going to lunch with his ex-nanny. That's what this is all about. You are the idiot, OP. You didn't raise him. She did. Yep, agreed. Now stop the pouting and appreciate that you had a good woman raise your children while you and your husband managed the company. So they had the love and comfort from someone that they loved as well. Take the credit for hiring her and know you did well for them by doing so. Honor her, accept the invitation, and celebrate the way he wants. He obviously has a kind and good heart for enjoying time with people he cares about rather than partying. I know it hurts you to know that you weren't the nurturer in their lives. Your hard work paid for their living and a good woman in their lives. Imagine how different they would be if she were abusive or not parental to them. You did the best you could. Accept her as part of the family and embrace it. Otherwise, you may lose your son's respect. My wife, 24, and I, 26 male, have been married for 4 years. During those 4 years, she had the same job, which required her to be away from Friday to Sunday. She leaves early on Fridays and returns about 4 to 5 p.m. on Sundays. So occasionally, it would be leaving on Saturday and returning Sunday. She also has to work some of the school and public holidays. I work full-time and get just a bit above minimum wage and tips, so our bills are split from 60, her, to 40, me. I make $66K, while she makes around $120K a year. While I struggle with money and have to borrow from the joint bank account, my wife never has this problem. I know she's getting paid more than I am, as she works for a high-profile client, but I'm not sure how much more. She also wouldn't tell me exactly what she's doing. All I know is that it's connected to her degree, and it is 100% not an escort or anything in that industry. She won't tell me because she signed a contract, which is highly confidential, so she's not allowed to go into details. She does chores around the house, but doesn't cook. She admits she's a lousy cook and hates it. Instead, she would either order these pre-made healthy meals you then heat up for yourself or take away. When I'm home and she hasn't ordered, she'll order for me too. So most of the day while I'm working, she's either in our house chilling, watching TV, playing video games, reading or exercising, or shopping or in the gym. Over the years, I've gotten annoyed with this and have asked her to find another job so she has something to do while I'm working instead of wasting her day. She told me she's not wasting her day but relaxing, and her job pays her enough so she can afford the lifestyle she wants. I said it's not fair on me, as I come home tired and she's done nothing all day, to which she said I could find another job or a different job. She says I'm an idiot for wanting her to find another job because I feel tired when coming back home from my work when she's already got a job she loves. After, she won't talk to me. I've spoken to my family, and while my parents agree with me that she needs to work, my sisters took my wife's side and called me a massive idiot. I'm not saying she needs to quit the job she has. I'm saying she needs to find another job to do during her free time, which could be a part-time one since she doesn't really do much during the day. You are the idiot. So you want her to work 2 jobs and be tired because you work one and you're tired? How is that even remotely fair? Your reason for wanting her to do this is just because you feel jealous and emasculated. You have no right to make your wife leave her clearly very good job just because you feel it's unfair to you. She gets paid well and gets to relax, but you'd rather she suffer working the same way you suffer than you'd have financial security. If it bothers you, how about you start looking for another job that pays more and demands less. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Maybe I'd be more sympathetic if the reasoning was that they never get time together as a couple due to heavily conflicting work schedules, but clearly that's not the case. Instead, it's petty jealousy that she's living a life she enjoys with a better job than he has. Maybe OP should go back to school and get a better job. I think the real problem is something different. Are you concerned because you don't know what she does? I'm just really curious about what she does that makes $120K per year, only takes 2 days a week, and is so confidential she can't even tell her husband what she does. I mean, he's the idiot for how he's handling it, but I'd be suspicious too. I, female 27, am married to my husband of 3 years, 29. For context, I'm white, and my husband and his whole family are black. My husband has a younger sister, Megan, 25, who's getting married in a few months. My husband and I were invited out for lunch with my husband's family, and the wedding topic came up. First, Megan started talking about clothing, then turned to me. She said that I would stand out a lot in the wedding photos because I'll be the only white person there. Plus, I have very typical white features. I have naturally blonde hair and green eyes, and my skin is very pale. Megan said I needed to change my hair color to dark brown or black with a wig or hair dye, and that I needed to wear brown contact lenses for the wedding. She said I would stand out too much in the photos if I didn't. My husband got annoyed and told Megan that she was being silly. Megan said that it was her wedding and she could do what she wanted. The rest of my husband's family was in silence. Megan told me that if I didn't change my appearance, she won't let me attend the wedding. My husband changed the subject. Later that evening, my husband's mother called me to apologize for Megan's behavior. She said that Megan is very insecure and that when she was in high school, she was anorexic and used to bleach her skin. She told me to just go along with what Megan wanted to keep the peace. I told her I was sorry to hear about those things, but I didn't want to change my appearance for the wedding. She said that was my choice, but Megan would be very upset on her wedding day because of it, then ended the call. I told my husband about the phone call, and he told me his family spoiled Megan too much and told me to ignore them. He said they were being irrational. Megan has been texting me links to online shops with dark wigs and contact lenses. She seems very dead set on this, and I really don't want to upset her. Would I be the idiot if I told Megan I'm not darkening my features for her wedding? Is this even real? You don't have to change your appearance for anyone. This request is going to make you look pretty weird later on when all the other guests meet you in life later and you don't have brown eyes or brown hair anymore. Not the idiot, and I'm so sorry your husband's family's not comfortable with you being you. Glad to hear your husband has learned to ignore their rude behavior. Maybe you could come down with a case of sick and sit this one out. If her wedding day is ruined because her sister-in-law doesn't attend, she's marrying the wrong guy and has bigger problems than your hair color. Agree. Maybe not attending the wedding is the wisest choice in this case, because it looks like Megan will make a huge scene if you don't comply. This is absolutely ridiculous. No, you do not need to alter your appearance. I'm sorry she's so insecure. The solution is therapy, not making everyone bend to her will. I'm glad your husband is on your side.